Denne podcasten sponset av Firi, Nordens største kryptobørs. Hvis du gira på å komme i gang med første kryptoinvesteringene dine, så Firi stedet å gjøre det på. Stolt på av over 400 000 mennesker i Norden. Hvis du bruker koden impressions, så kan du få opp til 265 kroner i kryptobelønning. Denne podcasten også sponset av Eier. Eier jobber for et mer rettferdig boligmarked, og har det de kaller boliger til innkjøpspris. 15 sekunder tar det å signe seg opp på Eier, og da kan du få hele egenkapitalen til ditt neste boligkjøp. Bruk eierbolig.no/impressions, sign deg opp, ekstrem stor potensiell oppside, ekstremt lite tid det tar å signe seg opp. Dette her blir måten folk kjøper bolig på i fremtiden, det tror jeg. Da har vi kommet oss til Sverige, og tilbake med en ny episode av Impressions, og denne skal vi faktisk høre på engelsk, og vi har med oss Jon Olsson. Welcome.
Thank you.
Det kommer til å bli litt it's gonna be a bit Swedish Norwegian, but I think we're gonna manage. But
yeah, but I think it's good because you have some Swedes that have a difficulty with Norwegian and the other way around, and now we cover all bases.
Yes, our king, he is very pro that we speak Norwegian to the Swedes and to the Danes. But a lot of Norwegians, I feel, they want to speak English with the Swedish because they're afraid of missing 10-20% of the conversation.
Yeah, so Danish I switched to English directly.
Yeah, but nobody understands a word. Nobody understands the Danes. They are very hard to understand.
But I think Norwegians are better than Swedes.
You think?
Yeah.
In every aspect of life?
No, I mean... Girls, yes.
Yeah. Boys, maybe. I don't know. Sports,
Norway is strong.
Yeah, we're in a good period right now.
I'm a good friend of Norway, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like it. So in Norway, we see Sweden as, the bad little brother that doesn't, in the startup scene and in all of this, they quite don't get it, with the oil and Spotify and all these companies, yeah. Klarna, No, I'm just joking. Of course, Sweden. We look to Sweden for a lot of entrepreneurial stuff, and Sweden is the foregoer, if that's no English word, in the entrepreneurial scene.
Yeah, it is strong.
Yes, very strong. Stockholm.
It's interesting to see how different countries have a very different kind of startup mentality, but for some reason Swedes are pushing quite hard.
Yeah. Do you know why?
I have no idea, to be honest.
No.
I haven't really thought about why. I'm just like, it's interesting. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not very Swedish.
No.
In general, to work with a startup. Like, you're supposed to fit in a mold and don't stand out, like, I guess kind of similar to Norway.
Yeah.
But that's why Sweden internationally, the mentality should be the opposite of like a startup mentality kind of country. So I don't know how that works.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I think the Swedes are always, a lot of Norwegian people, they are thinking nationally. So I think, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to start it in Norway. And if it's a great success in Norway, then we might take it abroad. And then Sweden is the first country. But I feel like a lot of Swedes, they go global, direct.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's interesting comparing Sweden and Norway. If you look at, say, sports brand in Norway, you have a lot of sports brands with the names of Norwegian athletes.
Yeah.
And in Sweden, it's like Björn Borg is like the only brand that kind of managed.
Yeah.
Because I think Swedes, they don't want to kind of seem like they're impressed by another Swede.
No.
And if you put like if you put a Swedish name or a Swedish flag on anything, like I've tried it over the years with ski signature clothing and all this.
Yeah.
So the Italians, they're like, we want a big Jon logo here. I'm like, it's not going to sell. Like, you'll sell 0 in Sweden.
Yeah.
And correct. But I think Norway, that works very differently.
Yeah.
So I think in Norway, they like Norwegians more than Swedes like Swedes.
Yeah, maybe. At least in the ski and winter stuff. Yeah. We had Kygo, who made the Kygo brand.
Yeah.
That was not a great success. But you have Bjørn Dæhlie and all these Johaug and these. If it's something related to winter sports, then
it's all in the Norway.
Yeah, that's I feel like that's the way to go. But I don't know. A lot of people have tried as well. I know Zlatan did the brand, and that is
If it doesn't work for him, it's tough.
I know Axel Lund Svindal also had the greater than a brand.
Yeah,
and I think that was also very hard to get off the ground. And
I kind of I saw that it was launched. I just assumed it worked because Norway's Norway.
Yeah,
but it's not easy, but it seems Norway's done well with it.
Yeah. You have, for those who don't know you, you're a free skier and you're an entrepreneur and you're a YouTuber and I don't know. Do you like to call yourself an influencer?
No, I mean, at the beginning, I've skied my whole life.
Yeah.
That's where I put my life's work into skiing. And then I remember the first time there was this kid, it's like, I know you. You're that YouTuber, right? And I'm like... Has it really come to this? I spent 30 years of my life trying to be good at skiing.
Yeah.
And then I did vlogs every day for a year. And then all of a sudden I was a YouTuber.
Yeah.
So I prefer, the difficult thing is I've realized that with starting companies, you have such massive advantage of having a big platform yourself.
Yeah.
So if it was up to me, I would just run and start companies.
Yeah.
And not do any influencing. Although I kind of like Snapchat now. It's new, so maybe that's why I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But since I know the advantage that comes with having a big platform, I try and do it parallel.
Yeah. So you don't want to quit the YouTube influencer gig?
If I found a unicorn and cash out, I would stop the influencing.
Well, you might find it. I've been watching you since in end of 2014. I started touring with a DJ called Matoma, and I did that for 3 years. And in 2016 is when I discovered you, when you started with Marcus doing the daily vlogs. And I felt a lot of similarities about what we were doing because we didn't vlog, but we had in 2016 I had 311 travel days. We did 250 shows, and you guys were like on like a different path, but like similar push. How did you come to, because you did ski videos and stuff, how did you come to the conclusion that we're gonna do a daily vlog?
So that's all Marcus' fault, actually. So Marcus Valeur, because I was doing ski vlogs quite early on before YouTube existed, and we built our own video player and all this. And then I was hiring Marcus to film ski stuff, and after a day or two, he was like, "Have you seen Casey Neistat?
Yeah,
he does daily vlogs." I'm like, "What an idiot! Like, what does he film like every day?" Couldn't understand it, and then we went, a couple days, 3 days, 4 days, because we're up skiing.
Yep.
But I kind of never thought there was a reason for me to do anything else than skiing, because I didn't think I was funny or interesting enough to follow anything I did besides skiing. But then after skiing for like 6 days, we were traveling. I'm like, we might as well shoot the travel day.
Yeah. And
then 6 days turned into 7 to 14 to 30. And then we got the question like, how long are you going to do daily? And I was like, let's do a year to start with.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure if I can say that I regret it, but I was dying.
Yeah.
Like literally eye twitching, and I'm still, what's that, 7 years ago? And I'm still burnt out and not at the capacity I was back then. So it was a push, but I was kind of with the mentality that I'd rather be hospitalized than not achieve the 1 year. Like, it was just like, my family was worried and my memory stopped working. I was in Marbella once and I was sitting there watching The Rock, this movie about Alcatraz.
Yeah.
And there was this helicopter shot of Alcatraz, and I'm like, that looks so strangely familiar. And then like half an hour later, I'm like, oh shit, I flew around Alcatraz in a chopper 3 days ago. So my memory, short-term memory, shut off completely. Like, if you asked me what part of the world were you a week ago, I couldn't tell you. So doing 250 shows a year, that sounds almost worse than, because I think the jet lag was a big part of like how hard it was physically.
Yeah. Yeah, we were touring a lot in America, some in South America, and a lot in Europe, and a bit in Asia as well, but mostly Europe and America. But we had multiple shows where we were like, show in Europe, in Switzerland, over to Atlanta, play a show, and then the next day back to Europe and do another show. And it's just like bam, 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 bam.
If you haven't done it, you can't understand how hard it becomes.
Oh,
like yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where you have to try in order to really comprehend how. Because when you're in it, it works, but then once you slow down, you're like.
It's
how were you surviving or?
Oh, it was extremely hard. Extremely hard. We did it for 2 years about at 250 shows, and in 2017, Tom or Matoma, he basically said, this is not going to work. So we're going to cap it at 100 shows about in a year, and management just figure out which 100 are the best. Yeah. So just put us on the 100 best, and then we have to slow down. Yeah. And we met one time. We met Tim Avicii, and so we did 2 years about full speed at 250, and then it was like you almost go. I went to the hospital as well. My mouth, I get stuff in my mouth that I was like, just the immune system was shutting down and stuff. So we did 2 years, and he apparently did about 7 years straight with this like touring 250 shows, around 250 shows. So I was like, when I got that information, I was like, no wonder he got very pressured, extremely pressured. It's it's wild. But I actually met Marcus at Arlanda one time, and I haven't really spoken to him any time before that, and I don't think he knew who I was, but I was like, hey, I'm Stian, and yada yada, and we have a mutual friend in Arnulf. And then I said to him, like, I think my life and your life is very similar right now. And he was like, yeah, maybe. But so you did this 1 year. How far did you push the daily vlogs?
I mean, for a while we're shooting red cameras. We're shooting 2 terabyte a day.
Horrible.
Just like shooting 2 terabyte, getting that into the computer and editing, and then being ready to shoot the next morning. That's a lot. Awful. So then we did a year of daily vlogs, and then we did another year of every other day, 180 vlogs, and then I think we did every third day for the 3rd year. Yeah. But I think the vlogging itself was not the hard part. The pressure of trying to come up with what to do. Yeah. That was like, once the camera was on, and if you had a day where you know what you were going to do, it wasn't that hard. But it was kind of like the days in between where like, you're tired, you're jet lagged, you might be sick, it's raining, and you're like, we need content. So we jumped off the roof of the house down in the pool. We slept on floaties in the pool, like anything you can make content out of. We were just trying to think of it. Yeah.
Where did you get the inspiration? Did you look a lot to America or other influencers?
No, not really. Just kind of, I didn't really have time to watch anything because it was really non-stop. Because I think Marcus, he quit after 290 days, something like that. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I'm alone. So I'm trying to shoot and edit and do all of that. So like at 6 a.m., I'm walking down to the beach with the red camera, with the slider, with the tripod, trying to capture some birds flying off, and the birds wouldn't fly. And I'm like, fly, you dead birds. Yeah. So then I was doing that. Plus, so I was trying to do enough things to have content to film. Yeah. And then running back and forth trying to edit. And then the only comments I would get when I posted was like, where's Marcus? Yeah. And I'm like, guys, I'm killing myself here trying to do the best that I can. Yeah. Wow. And then Benny came in after that. So it's been a long journey. But we're still going strong here with Moisi and the vlogs. I don't know, we're up to 1,300 now. Yeah,
it's wild. So many vlogs. Yeah. And also you've been doing this since 2016. So next year it's been 10 years vlogging.
That feels like 3.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild.
It probably took 20 years of my life, but it feels like it went by super quick.
Yeah. I can understand. So 1,200 vlogs. Can we talk about the finances? If you isolate it, because I want to come back to the platform and using it for entrepreneurial ventures, but isolated, how has the money-wise been on the YouTube?
So I think now it's better like revenue per view.
Yeah.
So if we would have had the type of revenue we have now when we did daily vlogs, we did daily in Cyprus, which I think was, so we did daily vlogs and we made 70,000 euros, I think.
Yeah.
In 30 days. But I think we calculated overall throughout all the vlogs, it's like about €1 million in ad revenue.
Yeah.
So ad revenue is a nice bonus, but you have to really kind of do daily vlogs and have a couple 100,000 views on every one of them for it to become significant.
Yeah.
So then the collabs is where you make the money. But when we were doing daily vlogs, we're so busy trying to make a good product that we kind of just said no to all the collabs. We threw away millions of euros there.
Yeah.
Just being so committed to trying to make a good product. But I do kind of like that mentality.
Yeah.
But looking back, it feels like we might have wasted a little more. We could have done a bit more.
Yeah. Because that was also one thing I noticed. That like, you guys have no ads here.
I know.
It's like, why don't you have any ads? If you made €1 million for 10 years doing the daily vlogs, 1,200 vlogs, I don't know the finances behind doing these vlogs, but a lot of the vlogs you're doing, they are not cheap.
No. I mean, if I look at what we spent, just look at airline tickets and buying or transporting a Lambo up to a glacier and keeping it there, new tires, and so that's where, I mean, if it wasn't for the startup side of my life, I would not have been able to afford the vlogging. Yeah. So the vlog itself didn't carry the costs that we had for it.
No, I believe it.
Unfortunately.
But
it created, with DV or douchebags, as it was called back then, I think the start of that was really helped by the daily vlog that we did. Yeah. And then we got a lot of other photographers and influencers liking it through the vlogs. So, it's all like kind of a big mix of what made what happen.
Yeah, because let's do the douchebag things. You meet Truls at a surf camp in 2009 in Norway.
Well, it was just surfing, so it was only us in the water. So just randomly, like
just you and Truls.
It's like two people surfing in Norway. So you're like, hey, who are you? What are you doing? Blah blah. Yeah. And then he was saying that he went to entrepreneurial school, and he was like, do you have any ideas on things you'd like to do? Because we're trying to find an exam project. Yeah. And I think we pretty quickly, right there in Stat, came to the idea of ski bags. I'm like, ski bags suck, and I have to travel with them all the time. And that was kind of the start of that. Yeah. So then you decide to start with Truls right then and there, or do you like meet him again, or? See, that's where I wish I had a better memory. I don't actually remember how we went from there to like actually starting the company.
Yeah. Because it's from 2009, it's 3 years until you launch the first product, which is the snow roller.
Was it that long? See, my memory is awful.
That's what AI tells me. So I don't know. Maybe it's fake news.
It seems like it would. I mean, I know we went through a lot of design ideas. It seems long. But if AI
wrong.
tells you that, I trust AI more than my memory.
AI is a lot wrong. So, yeah. But it says that the snow roller came out in 2012.
Yeah, probably.
Which was the first product.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was the main idea. And then we built all the other bags from that.
Yeah. So after 2012 and then leading up to 2015, you have the backpacks, and you have different types of products. How involved are you in the design of these products?
Like, I don't want to take credit for everything. Like, I know me and Truls initially worked on a lot of stuff, but then, so Truls was more on the technical side of things. Yeah. Whereas I was more heavily involved in kind of brand direction, kind of seeing that there is a market that sits between sports bag and fashion bags, but the technicality of sports bags, but still okay to walk around the city with it. Yeah. So I mean the buckles that we have, so all the artwork I was doing myself, and the little patches, and so yeah. super involved in everything.
Yeah, because
that's what I love. Like, I think I'm a better product guy than like a business guy.
Yeah.
So I would go to the airport at 4 a.m, go through the bag shops and trying to see if there's anything I liked or anything that was smart, and constantly thinking, okay, I sit down in the airplane seat, what pockets do I need accessible where, what am I going to put in there? And actually the EVA back on the backpacks that have kind of that classic trademark DB look.
Yeah.
That actually comes from, we had EVA on the part that goes towards your back.
Yeah, EVA. What is that?
It's like the thicker foam kind of thing. But then I realized that when we were trying to take photos of the bags, if it wasn't packed perfectly, you'd see the unevenness when it was just a smooth backside. So then by putting the EVA on the other side, that idea came from taking photos and content of the bags and trying to make it look better.
Yeah.
So it's funny when I look back at bags I see at the airport now, I'm like, oh, I remember we did that because of that. And then, Truls was he was for sure instrumental in making it a real company, like actually creating, the board and setting up everything correctly. Whereas I was more on marketing and product side and brand image.
Because we, in 2015, we were like in the same co-office with the douchebags and Truls. And then we started touring with Tom, and I don't remember how it happened, but anyway, they said, do you want to have bags? So we got a ton of bags to travel with, and we were wearing out bags like crazy. So it was just like shuffling through bags, but they were they were just far superior to what we have used prior to the douchebag. But the reason why we knew about douchebag was your content, Mark. and the YouTube thing you were doing. I think how instrumental do you think that the YouTube and the Instagram success of you were to the success and the launch of the brand in the beginning?
I know we compared sort of subscriber growth with revenue growth. Yeah. And for that sort of 1 or 2 years where we did daily vlog, those sort of curves looked very similar. So I think initially in that part of the company, it had a huge impact. Yeah. And then, of course, you only get so far with that. Then you need to have sort of the whole retail aspect and like the whole system behind the company in place. So, now it's flying on its own. But I think at that part, it had a big impact.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think, we were so passionate. It really wasn't like, hey, let's start a bag company to make money. It was more like, how can we improve the experience of traveling and make the bags that we used better? Yeah. So that was like the whole, I was always the one causing issues because the way I wanted to make bags, it wouldn't quite get us the margins that we needed in order to. So it was a good balance. Like Troll's kind of, this is where we need to land in order to have a solid business model. Whereas I was pushing like, but what about if we use this material or these kind of zippers? Yeah. So that's kind of my dream, to make €1,000 bag so I can make it exactly the way you want.
The Gucci bags.
Yeah, but they're crappy. Like, they're cool brand wise, but you could use all these like incredible zippers. That's like €40 per zipper.
Yeah. I think one thing is like visibility from the vlogs and stuff, but I think that and I think a school in Norway have looked into this as well, but the values that you in the beginning attached to the brand, I think that's extremely powerful and extremely hard to buy with ads, because you like, I don't know if this is a bit cliche, but you were sort of like the Norwegian J. Alvarez at the time.
We were trying.
Yeah, but you were like the Scandinavian, not the Norwegian, but the Scandinavian J. Alvarez, and all these things that a marketer would put besides your name, like freedom, travel, exploring, curiosity, all these things that all of a sudden was just attached to the douchebag brand.
And also having daily vlogs, and since we traveled somewhere every third day, you would get the product in there so naturally, so much.
Yeah.
So I think, it was a really good match.
You spawned 1 million copycats in Norway. But you probably knew that.
No, it was super fun, and I mean, I have always been, and I mean, even way before douchebags, I would always buy these special bags. So I've always been a bag nerd, and now I still like, you know, expensive women's purses because I like bags.
Yeah, it's but did you have like a conscious thought about this? Because the evolution of influencers, you know, the cheapest way to make money as an influencer, it's to do ads, you know, on the channel.
Yeah.
And the second one is to do like sort of affiliate stuff. You know, you sell something or you promote something and then you get a kickback. The third and like final evolution of an influencer is to build brands through your channels. And you were super early with doing this with the douchebag, or seems super early. But this is the way to, you know, if you look to America with the Chloe Cosmetics, and also by Bianca and the guys over here, you know, the way to make real money is to build brands and own companies that you build through your channels. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And you were super early with this. Was this like thought through, or did it just happen?
I mean, I think maybe I had a bit of a head start as well, since I kind of did it already with Unique Eyewear with skiing. So then I kind of used my exposure in skiing to start Unique Eyewear. So even before I was influencing, I already kind of did the same thing. So I guess that made it easier to be early on. But generally, I think I'm a person that doesn't have too much of a strategy. I'm more like passionate about what I'm doing. Yeah. And because it wasn't like, it was more creating more revenue streams. Yeah. Not like, here I'm going to make a lot of money. It's more like, okay, I'm skiing, I'm vlogging. Could I find something else that could work okay? Yeah. And then being super committed to the product and building that kind of made it work well. But it wasn't like, okay, how am I going to make a lot of money? Yeah. It was more building a safety net. Yeah, I understand. So in the beginning, how it was you and Truls 50-50, or did you get outside money right away? No, I think so. Me and Truls, and then Erling was in very early as well, and then what's it called, Innovation Norway. Yep. I think, I mean, it took a while before we took any sort of outside money. So Innovation Norway helped a little bit, but I know we made, was it 500 bags or something like that, and sold that, and then that paid for the next round. So yeah, I've always liked the idea of building slowly and letting it grow organically rather than it's bringing a bunch of money to high evaluation and create pressure. Yeah. So no, it took a while, but Truls, I'm sure he could answer you like this, but then again, my memories, like if I talk to my brother, he remembers our whole childhood. I remember very little specific things, like say I bought a pair of white Bolle goggles in Trysil that had a scratch on the pink lens, so I had to exchange them for a blue frame with a yellow, that kind of things I remember. Yeah. But then the big stuff in life, I'm like, yeah, very selective memory. It went away with the vlogs. Yeah, that did not help. Like I got a lot of gray hairs from the vlogs. But the good thing is it's on video. Yeah. So you can just watch it back. Yeah. I was trying to explain some of the stuff we did now when I was at the wedding in Mallorca. And I'm like, wait, I'll just show you the video. Yeah. So whatever we did was on video. That's pretty cool as well. All right. So, but eventually, I remember we had a lot of people hitting us up with stuff. And, you know, can you use this? Can you use the t-shirt? And yada, yada, yada. And they were sending like 1 t-shirt, 2 t-shirts. And we were dealing with this girl in douchebag, Jessica. She was a Swedish girl, and she was like, "Yeah, you want the bags?" And I was like, "Yeah, we want bags." And she's like, "How many do you need?" I was like, "No, we're so many people." And she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna send you a packet." And it was like, I don't know, 30 bags. It was just like
insane amounts of bags.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is a bit different than what we're used to. They were like, I felt like she was really trying to help. And she was like, how many are you on the team? They need a bag. He needs a bag.
Yeah.
The light guy needs a bag. Everybody's going to get a bag. It's like Oprah.
Yeah.
So like everybody's getting a bag. It's a different mentality at the time, I think, before we got it started to
yeah, but I think all
paid.
of that kind of came from sports marketing, which I had lived in for 10 years. And I remember when I signed with Oakley, I didn't actually ask how much I was getting money-wise. I was like, but how many outfits am I getting?
Yeah.
It's like, unlimited. No, but how many?
Unlimited.
So unlimited. So I'd get like 30 Oakley outfits, and that to me at the time was more worth than the paycheck.
Yeah.
So I think I might have brought a little bit of that mentality in that cost of a product is so much less than paying for marketing.
Yeah.
And everyone always gets excited to get a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It just switches a bit. It's just a different vibe right away.
Yeah, I think so.
Feel like, it's okay. There are abundance over here.
Yeah, and then you get excited. And I mean, it's always, if you can get people to use or post and promote a product without paying them, it's going to be more real as well.
Yeah.
So if you send them I know we've done that with Centermal a few times, just sent way too many just to get that surprise factor.
Yeah.
Like with socks, and 200 pairs of socks. Because then you get excited.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't like new socks?
Everybody likes a new sock. So the journey with Douchebag, it continues, and you guys get Aksel Lund Svindal gets in on the owner side, and a lot of other guys get in on the owner side. And I think your percentage was like 25% or something at the time.
Yeah, you asked me if we shouldn't talk about something. I hate knowing that I had so many percents.
Because what this question leads up to is you sold.
Yeah, I did.
You sold a lot of a lot of shares.
Yeah.
When did you sell them, and why?
I think it was sort of when the company was growing, and I was living in Monaco, and sort of it was important to try to build a real company, not have some dude in Monaco being in charge of design and like all that stuff. And I was kind of disagreeing with some of the choices. And then I was young and like, oh, you don't like it my way, I'm going to go. Yeah. Because I always like owning stuff or owning companies where I can influence a lot. Yeah. So I was being really smart, thinking, okay, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to build a boat and I'm going to make a big profit on the boat. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how much, but it would have probably been 20, 30 million euros. And instead I built a boat that I am now struggling to sell.
You still have the boat?
Yeah,
this is the big boat we're talking about, the fast one.
But I can at least say that when I'm 70, I can look back and said, okay, I wanted to build the world's fastest rib with a hybrid system, with night vision, like all that. So that's the only good side about this. Yeah. But no, it was a good learning experience, seeing that for companies to grow, they need to change. Yeah. And in order to make a lot of money, you need to be patient. Yeah. So, but it's probably good that I didn't make that kind of money, because then I would live life too crazy, I think. Yeah. But I mean, it's maybe almost more rewarding seeing how big the company's gotten, because I still own a few percent. So yeah, that I'm holding on to, learned from my mistakes. Yeah. So, but you sold like 20% or something like this? Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah. Can I ask how much you got for it? Probably right around the same as I paid for the boat, which is like $1.5 million, 2 million. 2 million euros? Something like that. It's a bit cheap. Oh. With today's valuation. Well, I mean, at the time, I thought it was a lot. Yeah. Who bought it? It was, I think it was a mix of people. Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't like I didn't believe in the company. It was more like me being young and stupid and stubborn and like, I'm going to do things my way. And if you don't like it, which I, shouldn't have done. That's how you learn? Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like the touring 250 days that before you experience it, you're not going to learn.
Oh.
So now I've learned to look more long-term on things.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I would have been smart, I would have been like, all right, let's sell half.
Yeah.
Have a bit of cash, sit there, see what happens. But I didn't.
Oh. You seem like kind of all-in guy. So,
yeah.
so this is...
But I'm trying to learn. Like that, at least I can bring a lot of experience with me from that.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna round off the douchebag thing, but they have now. This is not to put salt in the wound, to put it like this, but they did. They got purchased, or Louis Vuitton, the mother company of Louis Vuitton, purchased a 12% stake, I think, and that valuated douchebag to 1 billion Norwegian kroner.
Yeah,
about, and now. So let's not calculate what your stake would be in that, but it would be nice. But anyway, you made money on it.
So
absolutely. It's
still good business, but not as good as it could have been.
Oh, but this is.
But I had a lot of fun for the money.
I
like
believe
building
it.
Boats and like Lambos, and so it's having a lot of money later is one thing, but it's kind of fun looking back, being quite young and doing all the things that I got to do. So it's not all bad.
I think this is one of the reasons why you got so much attention as well. You were like living the every boy's dream.
Yeah, we went all in.
Yeah, in the 20s.
And the best part about that is, so I mean, you can look at me losing out on a lot of money, but because I sold, I did all that stupid stuff. So now when I have kids, I have no FOMO.
Oh.
Like I've done everything I could think of. And that means I can be 100% present with the kids. So if I would have kept my shares and I didn't do all the stupid stuff and sold now, I would have probably wanted to experience all that stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So it's important to look at things positively when you see that you could have done choices differently.
It's always going to be easy to look back.
Yeah.
I think it's Øystein Strauss-Betalen who said that a billionaire is a guy who always took profit too early. But he took profit. He always took profit. So
that makes sense.
If you're in the green, go home.
Yeah. But I mean, what did I invest? Like 44,600 euros, and that was the total amount I invested cash wise to start the company, and then 2-something million euros.
It's a nice journey.
Yeah, it's a good profit. And still owning some percents.
It's a very nice journey anyway. And you're still a bit, you have still a few percent, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Now we have these, Erling Braut Haaland is in.
I know.
That's huge. Truls is killing it.
Yeah. I talked to him a couple of days ago and I was like, I got to take my hat off. Like, when we're talking about finding people that could expand the brand, I was like, I wouldn't have dared to think that big.
Yeah.
So the fact that they managed to get that through, I was like, I take my hat off.
It's pretty impressive. I don't know how much they bought, but it was him and the billionaire Witzøe guy, which also has a very fashion focused guy. So with a lot of capital. So it's probably gonna just keep on growing. And I think Truls is when we look to Sweden and you see, Klarna and you see Spotify and you see like all these big companies from Sweden, I think it's like super important that we have people like Truls.
Yeah, he's really fantastic. I have worked with him for, what is it now, 12 years?
Yeah.
And I can't say a single bad thing about the person.
Oh.
He's the kindest, nicest, most humble, smartest. Yeah. You would think you'd find something, but he's still, his shares are going to be worth quite a bit, but he's still the guy getting the cheapest ticket to like a meeting with the team with 5 layovers. Yeah. So he's inspirational.
Yeah, I agree. We started in 2016. I started like a clothing company. It was like tiny and it went off the rails. So it went bankrupt in a year or so. So I blew quite a lot of money on that with a bunch of friends. But I was speaking with Truls before that. And I had lunch with him, and I was like, this is the idea. We're going to do this, and we're going to do these t-shirts, and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, what do you think, Truls? And he's like, yeah, I think maybe you shouldn't do it. He's like, you run now this media company, and I think maybe you should do that, you know, because this is maybe. But he was so kind about it, and he was like very I don't know. It was not judgmental. He was just very easy to talk with.
Yeah.
But he was like, maybe not do this, Stian. And I did it anyway, and he was correct. I shouldn't have done it. Yeah, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm speaking with the oracle here of building like companies with the physical stuff, and he was like, I don't think I would do that, Stian. Try to not do that.
But it's again, sometimes you have to try.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it from the most respected people, and sometimes you just have to experience it to know that you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Sometimes it is like this. All right, let's move on to the douchebag. Is a phenomenal history. It's a incredible company and incredible journey, and I think it's a company that's should be like studied with, at least in the beginning, with the branding with you. It's sort of like a blueprint on how you build a brand and attach all these values to the brand, which is it's extremely hard to buy. It's just I
mean, it was pure passion.
Yeah.
Like, we would test bags in every possible way, throw rocks in them, drag them behind cars, and really trying to abuse them to try to figure out how to do it better. And with the amount we traveled, you can't product test things better.
Yeah.
Like, see what airports are sending it through special luggage, and, how big can you have the bag? And
the 90 liter, sometimes it's too long. It's too long. And it's like, it's not too long. Let's go.
Technically, it's supposed to be within measurements. But I'd say 30-40% that they send it through.
Yeah. That's how it is. Let's move on to C'est Normal. So you start C'est Normal in 2016, something like that? 17 maybe?
Right when the vlog was started. What was the daily vlog? I don't even remember. Is that 16 or 17?
Yeah, 16. It's the daily vlogs.
Yeah, so...
Maybe 17 then.
So we must have started in May. Yeah, so probably 17. Because I kept changing the name and like... Because first it was like the idea to do merchandise.
Yeah.
And then we kind of upped the idea of actually making a hoodie from scratch that had all, that had a longer fit, that had zippers, because we're always flying in hoodies. So I wanted to have phones and airline tickets, bigger hood so that you had it on the flight.
Yeah.
And so, I think we launched in 17. And then I think we ordered enough products where we thought it would last maybe a year.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, this is aggressive. And I think we sold out in 10 minutes for like €1 million. Yeah. It was like, bam.
Wow. It's very, that is also the second time you like, or maybe it's more times you've started a brand within your influencer. Like, so it's the second time you like do the right thing as an influencer, if you can call it that. And it's €1 million the first day. It's insanity. Yeah,
but I think, I think I'm quite decent at sort of seeing what type of design aspects can make a product stand out.
Yeah.
To make it so, because we had these like rubber dipped drawstrings for the hood that had these little orange bits on it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of the design was quite inspired by Off-White, but at an affordable price.
Yeah.
But then still, since I did all the designing and then we shot the entire collection at home, I did the retouching of all the pictures. So we didn't really have any cost in the company. So it means we could have super high quality products at an affordable price.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big part of, and also that was still within the the golden years of daily vlogging and when you got to see all these products at inspirational places. And
did you have a full ensemble of like workers that were ready to ship out? Because €1 million of product is
we had a lot of problems. Like we had Shopify first, and there the connection between the website and the warehouse wasn't quick enough. So I think it was the first or second drop we oversold by 500,000.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there like every minute, like 100,000, 100,000, 100,000. And then I'm like, when it was going to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and I'm like, wait, how much did we order? Like everything sold out should be like 1.1. And then I'm seeing 1.2, 1.3. And like, stop.
Wow.
Because it was like within minutes, second drop as well.
Wow.
So
it's got to be a bit stressful.
Yeah.
And also €1 million of products, just not, let's gather the boys, go down to the warehouse and we'll ship it out tonight.
No, exactly.
It's not
No, I mean, we actually have the warehouse we had for Cinema now is right across the water here.
Okay.
So we would, coordinate with them what time we should do the drops, what days, so that they had a bunch of extra people working for the drops.
Yeah. Are you still involved in C'est Normal now?
No. I did the same thing there, sold everything, because I felt like, that I started with Janni, my ex, and her dad, and then I have a lot of opinions on design and everything, and I was like, I'm pushing so much, and if I want to do clothing, I could start another company. Yeah. And it felt right to do a new part of my life, just doing something differently, and also getting divorced in the middle of that, having less on my plate. Yeah. So and then it was good. I think my strength is early in companies to like find the direction and build it, and then someone needs to take it and put it into systems and like just grind to make them bigger, which I don't particularly like. Yeah. So but now I'm looking at new things. So I have my computer filled with clothing design because I was like, I've done clothing, it's fine. And then I keep buying stuff and I'm like, this is not good enough. Like if I actually the reason why I decided to do clothing again, I haven't launched anything yet, but I got a hold of a hoodie, a sample, and then I didn't actually start the company, but now I think it's been a year and probably 20 washes. Yeah. The hoodie's still holding up. And that's the reason I wanted to do clothing, so that I could produce things that lasts. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff you buy and you use for, 3 or 4 washes, and then it turns to shit. Mm. So, now that I've completed the wedding and gotten that out of the way, now I think it's time to push on with a new brand. Yeah. So because that's what I like. I like starting brands, like the logo, angling that.
If we touched a bit around it, but if you could like sketch up your perfect role in a startup company, what would that be and what would it not be?
So I think I'm good with products. There's a lot of people that make good products, but I think I am quite good at identifying kind of a brand image that sort of sits between different things. It's the same with C'est Normal. I designed some shoes there that looks like regular sneakers, but I had the idea to build them on a running last. Yeah. So the actual foam inside the shoe is like a running shoe. Okay. But the rubber that goes around and kind of covers it makes it look like a regular sneaker. Yeah. So I like combining different ideas into one project. Yeah. And then trying to see how wide of a target group you can find for it. Yeah. So I like analyzing and trying to fine tune. And I'm very good at never thinking something's good enough. Yeah. That's why actually I haven't started the new company yet, because I'm still tweaking, which can be a negative thing as well. When the more you learn, the slower you get. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, but I've learned this and this and this, so I should probably fix that. Like, what am I going to do shipping container wise? Because the limitations that if your shipping container exceeds a certain size, you're paying for a higher weight.
Yeah.
So you learn all these things, which can also slow you down with starting a new company.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I also like sort of what tone you have in social media and marketing, like how you talk to people.
Yeah.
And not be too pushy. So, but it feels fun to start a new kind of, because I'm doing a lot of different things, but creating a brand that does products that I wear is something I feel like I probably always want to do.
Yeah. I think that's one of the strengths that at least with the, I haven't followed the C'est Normal too closely, but with the douchebag, it just felt like, sometimes when you see ads from influencers, you feel they are fake.
Yeah. I mean, that's the difficulty that so many companies try to control influencers.
Yeah.
You have to write this and this and this and this. And the more you control it, the worse the ads are going to perform. It's like you look at views that we have on YouTube where, say, a company had wanted to do we did one with Samsung with the TV that we have here.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to control it because my idea was to rebuild the whole living room and like make it a home renovation.
Yeah.
And they wanted to cut all that. So they became too product focused. And then you could see view wise that it didn't do so well. So I think that's key to kind of work with influencers that you can kind of trust and let them do their thing.
Yeah. And I think the longevity that the longevity, especially with the douchebags, is like you were using these bags for years and years and years and like endless travel. Yeah. So it's like this guy is not faking it.
No, I think that's so important to really have a long-term relationship with companies.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's kind of sad that since I come from sports marketing, you have 3-year contracts or 5 or like more long-term.
Yeah.
And then you come to influencer marketing and it's like, we want to book one post.
Yeah.
So I think we're really going, you might create some short-term sales, but you're not building a brand.
No.
So that's what I would love to tell everyone that sits on a marketing department, that try not to just think short-term and sales when you do influencer marketing. Like think a bit bigger and a bit longer.
Yeah.
Because I think when we did douchebags, we probably didn't do a lot of direct sales, but all the credibility together built something that was much bigger.
Yeah. Now every school kid in Norway is using douchebag.
Yeah, I know, it's insane.
Everybody. Is this the same in Sweden?
No. I mean, what's Norway's 5 or 6 times the turnover of Sweden, so it's nowhere near.
Wow. No, everybody's using it. Business people and everybody.
Yeah, I walked down the street and I'm like, that's cool.
You did a good job. And trolls.
I wish I didn't sell as much. Then I would be even happier to see it.
Yeah. So you sold your stake in C'est Normal. How did you find buyers to that?
I sold it to the existing owners.
Yes.
So I didn't go out and search. I was like, all right, I need to do less things quickly. I'll give you a good deal.
Yeah.
You get it. So no evaluation, nothing. It was more like, this is what I'll let it go for. So that,
Easy transaction.
Yeah.
Just, all right.
And since then I slept better.
Yeah.
So I think, the balance in life of doing enough things and not too many is difficult.
Yeah, because this is a question for after, but I talked to another guy, and I'm also wondering this. With all the vlogs, now you have kids, now you have a marriage that is partially in Norway, takes a lot of time flying. I drove to Stockholm yesterday, and I've seen on your Snapchat that you drive back and forth.
Every week.
It's quite a journey.
Yeah.
It's quite a long, even though we drive an electrical van. So we have to charge it, but still, it's some kilometers.
Yeah.
So how do you structure your time? And maybe a better question is also, how do you structure your energy?
I'm very bad at structuring things.
Yeah.
I'm very much go with the flow.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm also learning that I need to work differently now than, say, before I was a bit burnt out. Because when 5, 6, 7 years ago, my prime time was working 4 a.m, like work until the kids wake up at 7.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I need more scheduled meetings in order to be productive. Because now I feel like I have a harder time, like really getting in the zone by myself.
Yeah.
So I think as you evolve over time, you need to also change the way you work.
Yeah.
But I also need more structure. And now Net is my structure. So I wake up in the morning and I ask, what are we doing today? Like she's got every day planned for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm doing tomorrow.
Okay. Sometimes that could be quite liberating.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah. Do you wake up at 4?
No, now I think since the kids got older, but I still like mornings.
Yeah.
Like even if I don't set an alarm, I still wake up at 6 something.
Yeah.
But I'm slower to get started, and I need to be more passionate about a project in order to really sit down.
Yeah.
Because also with ADHD, if it's a lot of sound or things going on around, I have a hard time focusing. So I need to really shut things out, dark, and
yeah.
So I like mornings are still. If I have to get work done, I'd rather go to bed at 8 p.m. And up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So I'm very much a morning person.
That's a strength when you have kids. I'm the opposite. I work at night. And then 6 o'clock, the kid comes in. It's like, let's get up, Dad. I was like, no, let's sleep more. Let's sleep way more. But all right. You have gone into, so you've been into the like fashion, you've been into the influencer, and your history is from action sports, but now you're into food.
Yeah.
How did that happen? And tell us about, what's the name of the food company?
So the name of the food company is Macro Meals.
Yeah.
We're currently just in Sweden, and that actually came about through Akka, because they were kind of contacting Akka for an investment, but the size of the company wasn't big enough for Akka.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I mean, send some products. I'll try it. Then after 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, I need to invest. Yeah. Like, I love the product and I want to eat this for the rest of, well, at least for the next 10 years. So why not be a part of the company and be able to work? Because I love food. So then I can also be a part of, like, how do we tweak the packaging, the marketing, but also the food, which is quite fun if you eat it every single day.
Yeah. So it's pre-packaged food with low calories and high protein.
Yeah.
More or less.
And say well cooked. Like, it's, if you look at the list of ingredients, it's very few.
Yeah.
And it's all high quality food.
Yeah.
And it sits right at that sweet spot where you're going to lose a ton of weight. Like, I lost 7-8 kilos. And my dad started eating it, like lost 3-4 kilos. But it sits at the sweet spot where you're eating low calorie, but it's not like eating chicken and rice.
Yeah.
So I think you can eat this. That's what I like. When I've lost weight in the past, it's been like, okay, I'm losing weight, but I can't eat like this for more than a month or two.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I feel like I can eat for a very long time.
So
it was also, because then if I'm part of the company, it also means I need to focus more on it, which is going to help me eat even better.
Yeah.
And then I stay in shape. So it's partly also to invest in putting my own focus where I know it's going to benefit me.
Yeah, because it's really easy to just smack it in. We had one before we started a pod, and it's right in the, not the microwave, the oven.
Yeah, it's a micro in the oven.
Oh, it's a micro in the oven.
Yeah.
Siemens.
Yeah.
Plug. But all right. But it was really nice. Chicken and pasta.
Yeah, because I mean, normally you wouldn't think of pasta as like losing weight, but if you don't have that much and you have it with a lot of protein, you still add low calorie but high protein.
Yeah.
So that's what I like, that it's not, just losing weight food. It's like eating something good for a long time.
Yeah. When you invest in this company, do you look at the possible upside of it, or because I would imagine that food is hard to make like enormous amount of money. I like a clothing brand, a douchebags, all these others, Akka as well. You're building a brand, and the brand itself holds a lot of value eventually.
Yeah.
Or hopefully. But how do you structure your thought process before you invest in this food company?
I mean, what I more or less did was look at how many units are we currently selling, and what's the turnover and the profit of that. And then I look at, okay, what do I think is doable with small tweaks? And then you see, okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's not going to be a unicorn, but it's going to be a solid, nice business.
Yeah.
So I like businesses that have kind of different approaches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is super healthy business where you're not bleeding money. Like, you're not cashing in a whole bunch of things and you're like waiting for that big break. Here it's more, increasing the weekly volume. And the more you increase it, the more discount you're going to get in production.
Yeah.
So everything comes down. And it's also a passion project.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed that even my neighbors, I'm like, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Because I know how much better it made me feel. So it's partly financial, but also it feels like you're doing a product that is actually going to make people's lives better.
Yeah.
So that's why I can shamelessly plug, because it's not like I'm getting like super wealthy of it and they're wasting money. Like, I know that they're going to feel better in every way. So
yeah. And also we looked at the packaging. There's very high quality ingredients.
Yeah.
This is also, I think, with my wife and the kids. So the focus on eating the right food has gone way up after we got kids.
Yeah.
And, not all these ultra processed stuff, trying to limit that and try to eat like proper stuff. So
that's what my mom said. She looked at it and she's like, ooh, this looks good. Like, looking at just ingredients.
Yeah.
So, no, it's good stuff, but it's also, again, focusing on making a good ass product.
Yeah.
Instead of like, how do we make a food package that we're going to make a whole bunch of money on? So that's why I also invested in Magnus, who started it, because he's so passionate about the product.
Yeah.
I love products.
When are you coming to Norway?
Soon.
I
hope. Yeah, because I've gotten so many requests, because I think Sweden's way ahead of Norway in terms of healthy alternatives to eat.
Yeah.
Even on gas stations, 7-Elevens, like all these things, they have a much better selection.
Yeah, also in gas.
So we just got to increase quantity a bit in Sweden, and then Norway would be next.
Yeah, because your impact in Norway, I would reckon it's starting to increase now.
I think so.
With the Snapchat, and you're starting. It hasn't been like you're not an influencer in Norway. You have been an influencer for many, many years, but now you're like...
I mean, now I spend 50% of my time in Norway. Yeah. And then, I went to the L party in Oslo. I feel
you're
like...
certified.
Yeah,
you're in the clique now.
Yeah. So, no, but it's nice kind of doing... Because I feel in Sweden, everyone that will know me kind of knows me.
Yep.
Whereas you kind of have a bit of a more fresh start in Norway. Like, they might know of me, but not... what is my life currently like and that kind of thing. So,
yeah, I think it's a big upside. And I think maybe it's correct that Swedes have been more focused on what they eat until now. Yeah. But I think it's like a hyper trend coming to Norway. So I think
it's like processed food is so much shit.
Yeah.
I mean, in Norway, you still think that a sandwich with cheese is a healthy lunch. Like, I keep making fun of Nette. Yeah. Well, she makes fun of me. It's like, why do you eat 2 dinners a day?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's called lunch and it's called dinner.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can bring a bit more healthy alternatives to Norway.
Yeah. Bread, it's like the ultimate food in Norway.
Yeah, the backbone of Norwegian energy.
Bread for every meal, it's possible. When you see a lot of studies, and I don't know if I can trust all this, but I see a lot of studies that the ultra processed food is linked to so many negative things, especially in kids. So it's
like every known issue or disease.
Yeah,
I mean, if you see the curve, if you compare the curve of processed food and and those issues, they're quite hand in hand.
It's like douchebag YouTube subscribers thing.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
correlated.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's talk about Akka. So Akka, you've been doing Akka for a year, maybe a bit here.
Yeah, be a year in November.
Yeah. Can you tell us, in your own word, what is Akka?
So Akka is an investment platform into startups. And the reason Akka exists is because when you invest into startups, you usually need to be a person like Axel and Svindal, or, you need to be very well connected and you need to have a lot of funds. Because usually if you want to invest in a startup, it's like 100,000 euros or more.
Yeah.
And then in order to spread your risks, you need to invest 100,000 a lot of times in order to spread that.
Yeah.
But if you are a big group of members that comes together, it means that you can invest a smaller amount per person, which together then becomes 500,000 or 1 million, or depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can enter about a company every third week, a startup.
Yeah.
And then I've previously had people working for me that analyzes investments and all that, but that becomes quite costly to have a really good person hired for that. So if you are a few thousand people, we can all split the cost for the whole back-end team that does all the research on all the companies, goes through all that. And then, we can sort of invest depending on how much you want. But I think the minimum investment per round is 300 euros.
Yeah.
Which is
extremely low. Yeah.
And I made my money off startups, so I can really put my money where my mouth is, that I don't like stocks and bonds and all that. Like I think it's much more fun to invest in startups. And I feel like it sits in that sweet spot where you have a potentially high return, but not too much risks. So with Akka, we're also targeting, we're not just going after crazy unicorn potential, but more, say, healthy companies. Like Douchebag would have been a perfect company to invest in.
Yeah.
A company that does well and it has 5 to 15x potential.
Yeah.
And I since I have the most bronze medals, I was in the Guinness Book of Records for the most bronze medals at X Games.
You were?
Yeah, I
For
actually
real?
was, yeah. So I like to take that approach and bring it into investments where I might not go for every gold medal, but I like to sort of get in there as often as possible.
Yeah.
And I mean, we go through, I think in 25, we're looking to go through almost 5,000 decks this year.
Yeah.
So, we're getting a lot of interest because we can, depending on the company, if we invest, I can also help the company in terms of visibility and potentially some brand experience and expert. What do you call it? Expertise.
Yeah. So it's sort of like a fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But every month or every 3 weeks, we present an investment opportunity to the members.
Yeah.
And then they choose how much they want to put in.
Okay.
So say in January, if we present an idea and we need to raise 1 million euros for that round, and we only get 500, then we won't do the investment. So it's kind of like you're more or less voting on which ones we do.
Okay. So it's quite democratic.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're a bit unsure, but the majority of the people are saying no, it kind of feels safe to have that voting, because you might see something or you might miss something that other people see.
Yeah.
And then you also have the community aspect. We've done a few meetups here at my place where we bring all the members so you all can meet together. And that's sort of an aspect I didn't realize the importance of early on, because when we started it, it was more focused investment.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's really, if I look at my life, the amount of people I have around me that have the same interests, like to discuss everything from world financials to startup investments and crypto or wherever it may be, it's sometimes a bit hard to find like-minded people.
Yeah.
Whereas when we bring this group together, it's like, I'm starting this company. We're doing this round of investments now, but we're looking at, so the type of discussions you have with this group is so different from regular people you meet.
Yeah.
So that's an aspect I've learned that is more valuable than I thought.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to do phone calls with quite a few of the members early on, and then I think that we scheduled like 15 minutes, but it ended up being like an hour and a half on every single call, because one guy sold headphones for 10 million euros in Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
The next was like the biggest oyster distributor in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
So the amount, like the different type of people that comes together was an aspect I didn't think would be as unique as it was.
Yeah. We have I run a company with another guy called Eiendomsmalen, which is like course business, how you invest in real estate. And we have about 700 members in Norway now. And the community is way more important than also we thought.
But it's so hard to explain to people when you're not in it, right? Or is it the same?
It's a bit the same. So we have we host these physical gatherings, and then we have a huge Discord.
Yeah.
And it's like after we reached a certain threshold of people, the whole community is sort of like a living organism of itself.
Yeah.
So people are, hosting these. They started hosting like meetups without us, just in the community.
No, but that's what you want.
Yeah,
like that's why we, when we had the meetups here, you see all the people getting to meet, and they have, they might be in a similar industry, or you might get advice from someone that's very skilled but in a different industry.
Yeah.
So we've done a few now, but the only problem we've had with them is we need longer, like a day or two.
Yeah.
So we're looking actually to rent the island where I had my bachelor party.
Okay,
bring
cool.
everyone out, because they have this big glamping area, so you have a couple days.
Yeah.
So the people that might have big choices to do in the companies they run, that they can kind of pitch the idea and get feedback. And I really like it, because I love analyzing companies and like brand names and all that stuff.
Yeah. We have a venture company in Norway called Skyfall. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you invest, you can invest in them, but you have to be, what you say in Norway, to be a professional investor. And then you have to go, I think it's 100,000 euros is minimum. And also when you invest, you have to stay for 10 years, I think, before you can take out the money. How is that in Akka?
So, investing in startups will always have a long you'll tie your money for quite a while.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to sell, we are working on a setup where you have a secondary market. If someone wants to buy your post. But
internally.
Yeah, internally.
Yeah, that's smart.
But it's not in place yet, because it's quite difficult regulatory-wise.
Yeah.
But I think the long-term part, it's not like we put 10 years. But if we invest in a company that goes public next year, obviously that investment gets cashed out.
Yeah.
And then you will be able to get the money out from that.
Yeah.
So it all depends on which company you're looking at, but that's something we work a lot on, making sure that people understand that whatever you put in here is something you need to keep.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because we've all learned that if you sell quickly or too early, so it's not a bad thing, I think, because you're supposed to invest with the right mindset in startups, that if you invest here, it's money you have to spare, and you're going to let it sit. So I can sort of talk from personal experience that, let it sit.
Yeah, patience is key.
Yeah.
But do you feel like the smaller the investors, the more impatient they are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at the people that invested in douchebags. The bigger they were, the longer they sit.
Yeah. Because
it is kind of funny that the better you are, the more patient you are.
Yeah. Because I would think that in Akka you have a lot of people that's like invest, and then you invest in one thing, and then they're like, how's it going, yada yada yada.
Yeah, so we have every 6 months they get a full report with internal valuation to obviously tracking a company will never be the same as what you actually sell for, but it gives you an indication of where you're sitting. And then the good thing with Akka compared to say the 100,000 minimum is that you can enter with such a much lower base of it.
Yeah.
And what I do now, what I've done in the past is like, if I like something, all in.
Yeah.
Whereas now with Akka, I'm more like, okay, I'm going to have this amount. So every company that gets sort of proposed to the members, I put the same on every one of them.
Okay, you match it.
So I try to, well, not match it from all of them, but like from my personal, what I put in, it's the same in every company.
Okay.
So that I know that I spread my risks. Because if I tend to change that, I'm going to go like, oh, I really like say we have a world record speedboat that we're going to invest in. I will put everything in it. So I try to take more emotion out of my investing.
Yeah.
Because all my emotions in investing in the past has not led to anything positive. So that's why I try to be more structured, and with the amount of companies we now invest in, it's usually one every third week.
Yeah.
Which is, I've had a few companies approach me where I'm like, this is great. Yeah. So I send it to the team. I'm like, I love this company. We need to invest here. But then when you have a full team that deep dive into everything, usually they find all the things that I don't.
Yeah.
And that was, I guess, the whole reason that I love the idea of Akka, is that in the past, I've sort of had opportunities, but not the team to really go through things.
Yeah.
But then they come back and they're like, well, we have this and this. And I'm like, I hate the fact that you're good at what you do, because I would have really wanted to invest here. But now when you found what you did, I totally see why we're not.
Yeah.
So, putting the team together has been, of course, instrumental in making the right choices investment-wise. But seeing how good the team is, it makes me fully confident in their choices.
Yeah. So when you first posted it, because this is a Spanish company originally?
French. So
French.
Thomas Rebaud founded Blast in France. And that's sort of how I heard about the idea and the concept. And I'm like, this makes so much sense, because being able to spread the risks and having smaller amount in many more companies is much better than me doing it alone.
Yeah, because you would obviously have a lot of access to startups. So we invested in 8 startups in the last 12 months, I think, and it's all connections through the podcast and through. It's like I don't know what I want to say. It's like a secret access, because it's not secret, but it's like
it kind of is. It's like a little bit
the right place to the right time, and all these types of things. But one of the critiques that you got when you posted about this was that it was very high fees. How do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, I think people that were saying that it's high fees, they might compare it to buying a regular stock on a stock exchange. But if you look at a VC fund and how that is structured, like a traditional VC fund, you'll end up with 20% investment fee and then 20% profit fee.
Yeah.
Where we're sitting at 8 to 10% investment fee and 20% profit fee. So we're actually much lower than a traditional VC fund, which is what you should compare it to. And then, of course, we have the membership fee, but you're also, that's for sort of the whole community aspect.
Yeah.
But then it's included that I take my Brabus boat and I pick up all the members in Stockholm, and we have a chef out here. So I think people they weren't really looking at it for what it was.
Yeah.
And sort of more, I think the problem is there's so many male influencers who have these like get rich quick classes that they charge a shit ton of money for, and then try to bring in make the money that way rather than actually teaching people. So I mean, it's just as soon as you start talking investments and money, you put yourself in the crosshairs of every person that likes to be skeptical online. But I mean, when we see the members that are here, like, I mean, we had, 25, 30 members, coming into my house, having dinner in my sofa and doing all these things together. Then they're like, okay, like we really get the vision. So that's what we're trying to do a lot more of that because the community aspect is something people have a hard time understanding. So then they're like, why would I pay for that? It's like, first of all, we need a fee in order to not have 1 million members.
Yeah.
And we need the members to actually have enough money to pay for a fee, because otherwise they shouldn't invest in startups. So it's kind of like also a way to make sure that whoever invests are there financially to go into startup investments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so they don't put all their life savings
No,
into
exactly. So it needs to be, you need to put and then also, I mean, if whoever's had a good analyst working for them, I mean, I had a super skilled guy and I was paying him about 100,000 euros a year.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to pay for a full team that's going to go through 5,000 investments in a year, that's not cheap.
No.
So, but it's I mean, I'd rather let time talk for me and show, like, I mean, the investments that we've done. I look forward to looking back in a few years and being like, you remember all the guys that were skeptical?
Yeah. Did you, I think I haven't seen everything you've done, but I think this is maybe the one that's gotten the most hate.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, depending on what you've done over the years, you get more or less critique. And I think this was for sure the most skeptical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not forcing anyone to do it. It's like we're offering a solution to how you can invest in startups, which that's where I made my money. So I believe in it.
Yeah.
So at first I was kind of like surprised. But then I also start looking at the comments and they're like, oh, your fees are crazy compared to this and this. And I'm like, nah, I mean, it is like a VC fund, but it's made by members. So fees need to be compared to VC funds and not buying a stock. But It was like kind of like people just didn't want to listen. And I think a lot of the critique usually comes from people that don't have money to invest.
Yeah.
So then they get extra negative.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be... I've learned that as long as I feel safe and good about what I'm doing,
yeah,
I'm quite good at like not caring about what people say. Like me and Nette, we talked quite a bit about, how to handle people's opinion. Because now in Norway, what do you have at, what's it called, that website where everyone talks shit?
Kvinneguiden?
No.
Jodel,
exactly.
They talk about you on Jodel?
Yeah. So as soon as we got on Snapchat, it was all Jodel, like, and I'm like, Nette, don't look. It's like whoever is on there is just there to say something negative.
Yeah.
So that's nice getting older, because you just like, you know what? I'm proud of what I'm doing. I feel good. So it doesn't faze me much.
No, it doesn't impact you.
No, that's when they're negative, that's when I'm like, let's book the same place as my bachelor party was.
Yeah.
And we're going to hire a kick-ass chef, and we're going to show whoever thought that was pointless to have a membership that you're actually getting something you normally wouldn't be able to. I mean, of course you can go there alone, but to have this kind of group to discuss among and taking a boat out in the archipelago. Yeah. So it's like my dad always used to say, en drake stiger emot vind. So whenever someone's been skeptical, I like to go all the way to prove them wrong. Yeah.
Now you're turning all the Akka companies together, because you're doing some changes now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, initially they had Blast in France.
Yeah.
And then I looked at that and started discussing with Thomas to work something out in the Nordics. But at the same time, there was sort of multiple things happening in different countries. So then Akka Spain started, we have Akka Nordics and Akka Italy. And initially, these were going to be more independent. Yeah. Obviously, Spain and Italy, they have the community in Spanish and Italian.
Obviously.
But what we realized when going through all the investments is that when we go together, we will have a larger amount of funds. So it opens the window for a bigger difference in, say, a company is looking for 2 million.
Yeah.
Say maybe us in the Nordics would be too small for that round.
Yeah.
But together we can access that round. So then we decided that instead of us work, because a lot of the deals we did this year was together.
Yeah.
So technically the main difference is sort of just officially that it's all sort of merged into one company, but the communities will still sort of have the Spanish and Italian one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the more members we are, the bigger the opportunities we have.
Yeah. So if you have one investment per 3 weeks, you said?
Yeah, roughly.
So you do maybe 15, 20 investments a year?
Yeah.
Something like this. What's the most exciting companies you've been investing in thus far?
Well, the most exciting one I'm not allowed to talk about yet, which is annoying. I keep like, wah.
Yeah, but what's the name of the investments, maybe?
Well, that was the problem, that I'm not allowed to mention the name
maybe
publicly.
Maybe this is not public.
No, but like I was talking
only on
about it
YouTube.
yesterday.
Oh, yeah, you are?
Yeah, like because it's the actual companies that haven't announced their rounds, so we will be able to.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's cool. It's some companies that are super well known and close to sort of going into an IPO process.
Yeah.
So I like, because I mean, normally our core business is smaller companies, but it's cool when you have a big known company that's about to go into an IPO.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be a times 15, but if it's times 3 and you get to be a part of an IPO. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. IPO, for those who doesn't know, that's initial public offering, right? Yeah. So it's when you go on the stock exchange, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have never been a shareholder in a company that goes public. No. So I like to just experience it, not for the profit, but for the experience. But I mean, for me, I tend to always look for the product-driven investments.
Yeah.
Because that's where I have my experience and my knowledge, and also potentially where I can add to things.
Yeah.
But those are also, if I would have done investments by myself, that's where I would put 100% of my investments, which is probably not the smartest financial thing. So that's why I like now having a team, because I mean, say biotech.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert there, but I see the potential.
Yeah.
So then having a team that is skilled and have the experience in that field is something I really like. So even if I don't fully get this, but I fully see the idea.
Yeah.
Then I get to spread my investments more than I would have alone.
Yeah.
Which is really good. Because I mean, in the beginning, I was pushing quite hard for a few companies.
Yeah.
But the more I saw how the team was working, the more I'm like, you know what, this is kind of ideal. Like, this is kind of running itself, because I felt that I really trusted them because of what I thought was great potential that they shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you're shutting down this, then, you know, the other things that we have on the table has got to be really good.
Yeah.
But I'm still looking for that speedboat investment company. Not that I think that the team will ever propose that, but
maybe you can rent it out or do something. But yeah, it's no. So the 8 investments we have done, I do everything with my brother, and we have the due diligence we're doing. It's extremely lacking. It's like
that's where Akka comes in.
But it's like I compared it with like driving in the winter with the frozen, and you have this like vision that you know and see, and there's like all this blank space that we have no clue about this, so we just focus on what we know, and it's quite limited, but we're just like, okay, let's just go. But yeah, I can definitely see the advantages of having people that
take away the blind spots.
Yeah, first investment we invested. A week later, we talked with a friend of ours, who's also a friend of Andres, and he's like, yeah, did you see this dumb investment? Because he was pitched as well, and he was like, all of this blah, 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 plenty of things. And he's like, this is so dumb. Only idiots invest here. And I was like, okay, yeah, you don't say. Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Yeah, no,
so it was like...
Because I invested quite a bit in a company called Sunroof, which had solar panels on the roof. And
initially smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart idea.
Yeah.
But the reason I invested in it was because the aesthetics of it, it sort of replaced the roof.
Yeah.
So the roof looked almost like futuristic glass, like not sitting on top.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's great, like killing it.
Yeah.
But again, blind spots.
Yeah.
So it looked good, all this, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
And again, I was also looking through that hole of like, okay, looks good, solar panels, great, but I didn't have the full picture.
Check.
That's why I love having, every time the investment team shuts me down, I'm like, I want to invest here, but I love the fact that you guys are really going deep.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely see the upsides of that. And that's also one of the, so now we have one of the latest investment we did was besides to try to mitigate this, because we don't have, maybe we should join Akka, but we don't have people that look into it. So now we're just like, Skyfall was investing and we got the opportunity as well. Yeah. And we're like, okay, they do due diligence.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Because a lot of the investments we do with Akka, we're doing it in together with a bigger fund.
Yeah.
So it's not that we do every round ourselves, but teaming up with different people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty smart. We did, we're playing Fire Festival. Have you heard about Fire Festival?
You invested in it?
No, did not invest in it. Luckily. No, but we were supposed to play there. And I was mailing these with all the, like, advancing the show. And they were terrible at answering. Yeah. And but Blink 182 was playing at the same stage. And their tour manager is, like, sort of legendary and everything. So I was just, like, gambling that, okay, I don't get the answers I want, but Blink 182 is playing on this stage after us. So I'm gambling that this guy is doing his job properly, because then we can just, like, coast along on his experience. But so that's what we're trying to do now.
Yeah.
Just, like, tie ourselves to a whale or something, and then slide in the not the back door, but the side. Yeah, no,
but I mean, it's finding the right partners and getting that correct, I think makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
But when is this pod coming out?
When do you want it to come out?
Because I think within a week I'm allowed to talk about the latest investment we did. So I don't think it comes out before a week, right?
No, it's sometimes in July.
Oh yeah, so then the one of the cooler companies that we've invested in is Entropic.
Entropic?
Yeah.
Sounds like biotech stuff.
AI.
Yeah,
so okay, you know, it's one of the, you have AI, or it's open AI, Entropic, so it's like one of the big, the big dogs.
Yeah. Wow.
Which, you know, these kind of opportunities Jon Olsson wouldn't get. Yeah. But combined, like, through the network that we have around us. Yeah. Which I think it's always cool. Or if you have SpaceX, that kind of stuff, like, even if, you know, it's hard to see where it's going, I would love to just, because I like also a little bit of investing with passion. Yeah. So it's like, a bit of SpaceX, that would be
to be invested. Just
a tiny bit, but
just fun. A tiny bit, but just the vision that we're going to Mars. Yeah, it's insane. Just to be a part of that is but that's very cool. Into AI.
No, I mean that's what's cool about the network is that we have sort of the more regional startups, but also these big, like, massive kind of world-changing companies.
Yeah, maybe that's also one super good reason to partner up with the European guys, with the French, and because.
So I mean, the bigger we are, the more of these kind of opportunities we get, and that's sort of the reason why we ended up fully merging, because then we can kind of from the start. Negotiate as one rather than adding three pieces together. Yeah. That so makes then sense. For all the startups that we have, obviously not Entropic, but all the sort of the main bulk of the startups that we invest in, we have the founders do a live Q&A. So they kind of present the company, which is really cool
for the members. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because then as a member, you learn a lot as well when you see founders pitching their company and pros and cons and all that.
That's very cool. It's not just a pitch deck.
No, exactly. So I mean, we go through all of them, and then through this whole process, and whichever one we decide to present to the members, the last thing we do is a live Q&A with the founders.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What type of investments are you doing in Anthropic now? How large is it?
I want to say around a couple million euros.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty large.
Yeah, I mean, since we do one every 3 weeks,
yeah,
then obviously it's quite new. But I mean, say in a year, if we're double the amount of members, that'd be 4 million. And
yeah.
So it's nice. I think it's important that we're able to grow with quality. Again, like the douchebags, not sort of selling the first bags, taking the profit to build the next bags.
Yeah. And
also getting the meetups with the members, getting that done right. So you're not having 10,000 members. And I love to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Which I think from what we've heard from members so far, they seem to think we are.
Yeah. It's going to be, to prove all the haters wrong. It's going to be good when you have
motivation.
The first cash out.
Yeah. But until then, all we can do is keep working. And yeah, I mean, sometimes people just love to be critical. But it's not the first time I've done something people are critical of. So I've learned to just,
Probably not the last either.
No, probably not the last.
Do you have many members in Norway?
We have a few, but not. I mean, now that I'm half Norwegian, I got married to Nette, a Norwegian girl, last week. So,
congrats!
Thank you. Always wanted a Norwegian girl. So.
We all do. Everybody does.
No, but I think when I was a kid skiing in Sweden, we'd go over to compete in Norway, and you had these Bærum girls.
Yeah,
we came over. Wow. So I think since they have the beautiful hair and they have all the cool ski gear. So I think ever since I was like 13, 14, 15, Norwegian girls had something special in my heart.
It's a lifelong dream.
Yeah. Achieved finally.
Check.
Yeah.
So you're going to apply for Norwegian citizenship. That would be a nice upgrade.
I mean, I have the Amundsen shirts with the Norwegian flag, but we'll stay with that, not the citizenship.
Yeah. So, but you're going to stay in Sweden.
Yeah, I mean, now we're 50-50. So we're here 1 week with my kids, and then we go to Kolbotn in Oslo. Here, there 1 week with Nette's kids. So back and forth. So kids all the time, and then whenever it's holidays, we have all 4 kids.
Yeah, it's a nice setup.
Yeah, honestly, in the beginning, I kind of thought we would work towards a long-term solution. But the more we've had it like this, I realized this is the good long-term solution.
Yeah.
Since I like driving.
Yeah, but it is quite a long trip. I was surprised how long it was.
Yeah,
and
it takes a little bit. No, I get in the phone. I do phone calls because I never really like to be on the phone, except for when I'm driving.
Yeah.
So I do all my phone calls driving, and then maybe a podcast. And
that's nice. The Rolls is probably very quiet.
It's a pretty nice long distance driver.
I can imagine. The Chinese L truck, it's not so quiet.
No,
it's not very quiet. It's like built of nothing, basically.
No, that's true. Yeah,
it's very light.
The engine is one thing, but then the road sounds are different. That's where all the sound dampening in the Rolls is.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the taxes. So in Norway, we have a big issue with finance taxes and formuesskatten, which is like the wealth tax, which they increased the last government, and they also now have an exit tax.
I've heard that.
So the tax system's it's not against entrepreneurs,
but pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. It hits entrepreneurs very hard. So we have a lot of people, both on the podcast and people that are just fleeing Norway.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of guys that go to Cyprus and a lot of guys that don't want to talk about it. You have been, I don't want to call you a tax refugee because you come home to Sweden now, but you've been living in Monaco, which has very low taxes, and then Cyprus.
Yeah.
What is your take on the whole situation with moving around to like Monaco and Cyprus? And
I think as long as you live where you move,
yeah,
like it's completely fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's the important thing, is that whoever dodges taxes and put a residency somewhere but doesn't live there, obviously then you're not following the system. So I've always been very, I want to make sure I do things correctly.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I was traveling the world skiing, I might as well, and I wanted to live somewhere where I was close to the Alps. And obviously skiing is not the type of sport you're going to do forever. So then you want to try and optimize the income that you have until your body's broken when you're 30.
Yeah, when you're 30.
Yeah, I mean,
short window.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, but I think the wealth tax is something I think is just stupid.
Yeah.
Like, if you make a lot of money and you blow it all on cars and champagne, you're not paying any wealth tax.
No.
But if you're trying to save it for your kids, you're supposed to give part of it away.
Yeah.
And that equation just does not resonate in my brain.
No, we have now we have
like better to tax more on income, but the wealth tax, I think, is just, you know, if let's say you work like a crazy person for the first 40 years of your life so that you want to chill when you're 40.
Yeah.
Then you're supposed to get punished for that, which, that's, I have an issue with that.
No. How did you like Monaco compared to Cyprus?
So I liked Monaco a lot. Cyprus, we kind of moved there because we would pay the same for a frontline 700 square meter villa, like beachfront epic villa, to a studio apartment in Monaco.
Yeah, how much did you pay for the studio? Because you were sleeping in the studio, and it was a one bedroom.
So the second one we had was a 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, 8,000 or 9,000 euros.
Okay.
Like small, like not even a real bedroom.
How many square meters?
80 maybe, but it was useless 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, you couldn't even shut the door for the bedroom.
Wow. So
but that was one of the cheaper buildings.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a family apartment in Monaco, you're looking at 25,000 euros a month to start.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
So but the first one you had with the sea view.
Yeah, I got that early on, and it was known to be the cheapest building in Monaco, and I think that was 1,200 a month.
Okay,
which was like the steal of everyone. Know like, oh, you have an apartment there, like it's uber cheap.
Yeah, that's super.
Because usually they would, whenever a rent would expire, you know, they'll double or triple depending on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is in that building they only had studios where, you know, was it 35 square meters?
Yeah.
So it was good when we were young and no kids.
Yeah.
That would not work in there.
35 square meters. That's nice.
No, but I mean, at that point we were just, traveling a lot. And when we were home, just working and sleeping. So
yeah.
So it was, I liked Monaco. I liked Monaco a lot. Cyprus has beautiful nature, but boring as, that was a bit of a mistake moving to Cyprus. Yeah.
So if you had to move back to one of them, it would be Monaco.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, even with kids.
Yeah, because then you just take the car a little.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because Cyprus I would not go back to.
Oh, no, I have a lot of, not a lot of friends, but we have some friends that have moved to Cyprus.
And what do they think?
No, they are single boys in their 24, I think they are. And they're making a killing on e-commerce in Norway. And then they were just getting slaughtered by the taxes. Yeah. And so they moved to Cyprus, and they are, I don't know, they're living sort of like a monk life. They're working out, they're working, and they're drinking coffee at a 5-star hotel. That's so. But I don't know if it's gonna last long term.
No, I liked Monaco. I miss Monaco. Like every time I see the Monaco Grand Prix or something, I'm like, because I used to go for 10 years and I have so many good memories. Yeah. So that's the only thing I have scheduled for 2026 is that I want to go to the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Netta has it in her calendar as well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because we haven't been to Monaco together and I want to show her the Monaco that I lived in.
I like it. Of the things that you have done in your entrepreneurial journey, what are you most proud of?
I think probably, I mean, obviously douchebags or DB, the whole aspect there, but I think navigating the brand image of DB is probably what I would say I'm the most proud of.
Yeah.
I'm usually not proud of things I do. I'm usually quite critical in everything I do.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, that should be better and I could have done better. So I spend very little time thinking about that I'm proud. Like almost zero time.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people, because I heard a statement that said that if you are like you maybe, and you think I'm not organized, you are actually very organized compared to a lot of other people. And you're very efficient compared to a lot of other people.
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like I'm not doing anything. I'm lazy, I'm unproductive.
Yeah, do you feel these things?
Always. Every week I feel like, what have I done this week? Nothing. Like I feel useless.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that from the outside.
No, I feel like I'm doing a good job being a dad and a boyfriend and a husband. But work-wise, I always feel like I'm useless.
I think that's incorrect.
Yeah, I look back looking what I've accomplished. Stats tells me the same, but it's not I mean, whenever I have a week, like today, I'll feel good. Today we did solid work.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm working alone,
it
feels like I'm not working. So if I'm designing things on the computer, then it just feels like,
like nothing.
No, because if I send... So I think it's because if I do design work, unless that's an instruction that gets sent to a factory to produce, it feels like that whole process before you set something in stone is just not really moving the needle. So I think that's why I feel like I'm not working, because it's so much thinking and analyzing and changing, but it's not actually sending an order.
No, but isn't it like Edison? He said, I think it's, he said, like, I found 990 ways of not lighting a light bulb. So you're eliminating the wrong things.
But then, that doesn't feel like, it does not feel like I'm working hard.
No.
Put it that way.
Have it, besides from the vlogging, have you ever felt like you're working hard?
Yeah, during launches with Cinema, like when you're shooting 5,000 photos and you got to edit 800-900 for the website.
Yeah.
Then I felt like I was working hard.
Yeah.
But it's very rare.
Yeah. So short bursts.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if we did a study on these types of entrepreneurs, if they felt also like they're not working hard. Like Truls. I'm going to have Truls in the fall on the pod. I'm going to ask him if he thinks he's not working hard.
I think in the past couple of years, I think he was working hard.
Yeah.
I think he would feel that as well.
Yeah.
Because he was more hands-on, like actually in the office doing things, whereas my role is always a little more undefined.
Yeah.
So
do you think it was a lot of luck that you met exactly Truls?
Yes.
And he had the skill sets that he obviously has?
Yeah, I'm still 12 years later trying to find another Truls.
Yeah.
Because I mean, with starting a company with someone is so much more fun.
Yeah. But
you got to start it with the right person for it to work long term.
How do you find the right person?
I don't know. Any more Trulses out there? Please send me a DM. I'd love to get in contact.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're gonna start to get to a close here, but it's very interesting with you, and I thought about it on the car ride over here as well, and I feel like you have been sort of a combination of on the cutting edge of like marketing in many years from the first time I saw you in 2016. So you've been like on the tip, on the spear, and the combination of your willingness to go super hard and, you know, just push so much money into the different kind of projects. It's been very inspiring to see, because you don't come from money either.
No. I mean, we were using second-hand skis. We were picking blueberries as a family to pay for ski trips. So literally, like, in order for the family to make extra money, my mom was home with us and my dad was a police officer.
Yeah.
So like all the money we had would go towards skiing. In order to ski a bit more, we were picking blueberries. But when I say picking blueberries, it's not like we went out and like picked a little bit of blueberries. We had a Volvo station wagon with a ski box.
Yeah.
But when we would pick blueberries, we would also have a trailer behind this Volvo station wagon and the ski box. So we would pick, 300-400 liters of blueberry per day as a family.
Wow.
So that's, 30-40 full-size buckets per day. And then we'd go and sell that and bring it. And then we'd go to Norway to Juvashytta and ski. We would be, me and my brother, and our parents in a tent.
Yeah.
And mom would be underneath the sort of little cover in the tent cooking food that she brought from Sweden, because food was cheaper in Sweden than Norway.
Yeah.
And then we would all shower with like a Norwegian 20 kroner. So the shower machine, we all had to shower in super quick.
Yeah.
So we were very efficient with the money that we had. So it's been a bit of a journey.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But that's why it's even more interesting how you are willing, because when you get money, how you are willing to like push so hard and gamble. You seem like risk tolerance is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Do you gamble?
No.
I think you would make insane gambler if you ever got into blackjack.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I'm taking risks, because I feel like, so even if I buy a Lambo and I transport it to a glacier in Norway to go up the mountain, I feel like, to me, the vision was so clear on how it was going to look and the effect that it was going to get, that it might look like gambling from the outside. But to me, it's a lot of money to spend, but it wasn't gambling in any way.
No.
So I feel like I don't really like risks. It's kind of like that third place at X Games that I like to push, but not risky risk. And I do spend a lot of money investing in building things for the future. Yeah. Say, I mean, a lot of the cars that I had, they're like really expensive. Yeah. But I know long term, it will build and it will keep generating an interest for what I do. Yeah. So I tend to tell myself that everything that I want to buy, it's good for business. So I use that as a reason. It's like, I should get the new Ferrari Purosangue because that would be good for business. Yeah. But then I'm trying not to.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
I mean, I've done that. I've spent all the money that I've had. All the money I've spent is because I've told myself it's good for business.
Yeah. Because I've heard, I talked with a guy who was attending these Jon Olsson Invitational as well. And it's like mythical listening to this guy talking about this Jon Olsson thing, Invitational. And like the push on everything was like top quality. The drivers picking up. He was maybe a guy coming from Was, but he was like, it was just, everything was top.
Yeah, but it was all calculated, because if you looked at if we would pay big prize money or pay people to come, and then you would compare that to, say, picking people up in a helicopter at the airport and then buying 100 bottles of champagne, helicopter and champagne would be way cheaper than prize money or a parent's money. Yeah. And 10x the effect. Yeah. So spending a lot, but we were actually spending in order to cut spending.
Yeah. That's smart. It's a different way of looking at it. What do you think, what do you think is the most successful stunt you've done? Like the Lambo on the glacier?
probably building the RS6 DTM. I built this wide body car.
The first one.
Yeah, first one that I then sold for double the money that it cost me to get it. And then it was burnt down and everyone thought I owned it. So I got all the PR.
Yeah.
Like, oh, was it burnt down? Like, I don't know. I gained like 15,000 followers on Instagram in a day for doing nothing. But I think that image of building a car that crazy gave a lot of value long term.
Yeah.
And because I think I had a sponsorship with Audi, so I almost got the car for free and sold it, for a good profit. But that car kind of, I mean, what's that, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
People still talk about that one car.
Yeah. Is it the best car you had?
No.
What's the best car?
Best car I ever had was probably, I had a Huracan that was supercharged.
Yeah.
I loved that. Absolutely loved. And then all the RS6s. Yeah, it's hard. I tend to never be satisfied with cars.
No.
But I have a 2.0 R6 DTM in the works now.
Okay.
So we're just doing the molds because that's part of my new company, doing body kits, wheels, and other products. So sort of doing more car related things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's going to be a part of my life for a long time. And I feel like you have race cars and you have street cars with body kits.
Yeah.
But you don't really have anyone doing body kits that looks like race cars. Because race cars are usually quite clean. They're wide and extreme, but quite clean in the lines.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I want to position Innominate that I'm working on. Innominate unspecified.
Cool.
So that's where I need another Truls.
Yeah. We need to find him.
Because I have the design, I have the vision, I have all this, but I need someone to get dirty and work hard.
Yeah. I understand. Oh, I remember when you drove on the glacier with the Lambo, and I remember when you bought a G-Wagon and cut the roof off. And I was like, now he lost it. He cut the roof off the G, like with the chainsaw thing.
That was fun.
I was like, how is he going to sell this car again?
The problem was that once you cut the roof off, you can't register it anywhere. So if I could have registered it somewhere, it would have been easy to sell. But since everyone who wanted to buy it asked about that, and I was like, yeah. So that was probably one of my worst car investments.
Yeah.
But I still have that one photo of me cutting the roof off a G.
Yeah, that's wild.
It all sort of doing things normal people wouldn't do, I think will always generate interest.
Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't have that kind of money then to play around like that.
No, that's why the risk thing comes in. Because I feel like, okay, I don't know how much money you had at that time, but I was like,
not enough to cut the roof off a G.
This can't be cheap.
No, but I mean, back in the day when I had the Lambos, like, say that I had the Lambo back then was like 350,000 euros.
Yeah.
And then I might have had 100 left in the bank.
So it's like 70% of your net worth.
All in.
It seems from that it seems like your risk tolerance has been very high.
I never looked at it as risk though. That's the thing.
Maybe not.
Because I don't like risk. And and also even if the car is expensive, you buy the right car.
Yeah.
You're gonna at least sell it to 80 or 90% of the value.
Yeah.
So you're only really risking whatever it is you're losing.
Yeah.
But if that can generate more of an income than you're losing, then
it's not.
But it was easier back in the day. Nowadays, everyone has a 3 million. Not everyone, but in order now to have a special car, it's 3-4 million euros for the supercars.
Now you got to buy a Rolls Cullinan to stand out.
And barely.
You barely stand out.
But now we're getting straight pipes on that, so it's gonna go pop and bang and 800
on the Rolls
and 850 horsepower.
850 horsepower. Okay. Interesting.
Because you're not supposed to have a rolls that goes bum, 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 bum.
No, I agree. Well,
so that's next on list of things to do.
Yeah, you're into the different business, doing things different. Oh, Jon, I have a question about crypto as well, but time is flying past here. So the question is just going to be, crypto, do you like it or not?
I like it because I hate the traditional banking system.
Yeah.
Because if you've lived in different countries and you're selling a house in Spain and you just want to move the money you had in Spain to Sweden, then, we're going to charge you 0.5% just to move your money.
Yeah.
If you move 3 million, it's going to be a lot of money just for the transfer.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not a big fan of traditional banking.
Yeah. So you're bull crypto.
What's that?
You're bull.
Yeah.
Yes. Positive. All right. I think we're going to round off. Thank you for answering all my questions.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. And thanks for letting us come here and film.
That's perfect. Optimizing time.
Yeah, this is time optimizing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's very interesting. I think you've been quite high up on my list of guests to have, because I think that you have a unique look on. You've been like at the tip. Come back to that, but you've been like at the forefront for a long time, and it's just been interesting to see.
And I've always been worried that I had my one moment of being lucky and succeeding. Like throughout all the years, I never feel like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, oh God, that was lucky. I got to work twice as hard next time in order to like figure it out.
It seems
so
like
I think insecurity is what's driven sort of the work mentality.
Yeah. It seems like you've been sustained at the front for a long time.
Constantly terrified of it's over.
It's the fear.
The con or the fake
succeeding
is over.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always every week I'm like, oh, and then try to work twice as hard to make it work.
Well, I'm impressed. Thank you for letting me talk to you, and best of luck with Akka and gathering of forces with Akka and the new companies that you're going to start.
I'll get you a complimentary membership, because it sounds like you need one.
Yeah, we should. We need more people to do due diligence.
Yeah.
Our due diligence is very lacking.
Yeah, that's what mine used to be, but now it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jon.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.